Hello and all, welcome to another episode of MMA Vision Analysis. This one we're talking Demetrious Johnson's comments on UFC 314's co-main event, Paddy Pimblett versus Michael Chandler, specifically his comments on Paddy Pimblett. We're going to get into those. Before getting started, make sure to like, subscribe, click that notification to get all this is new from this channel, your channel, the one and only MMA Vision Analysis. Demetrious Johnson has high hopes and expectations for Paddy Pimblett. He believes the guy has true potential of becoming champion someday if he continues down the current path that he's on. Let's underline if 3 times. Obviously, UFC 314 fight is going to represent the biggest challenge for Paddy Pimblett. Michael Chandler, ranked number 7. Make no mistake, still one of the greatest fighters on the planet, not just in that division. And I stand behind those words. Also taking into consideration the guy's patchy record in the UFC, Chandler's that is, and really his last shot at redemption against Paddy Pimblett. All the guys that he actually lost it, if I'm not mistaken, were ranked higher than him. Thus far, I don't think that he lost to anybody ranked lower than him. And I think Chandler understands that if he was to lose to Paddy Pimblett, he would also perhaps even lose that number 7 ranking, which helped propel that guy's career upwards. And if you're a Chandler losing to Paddy Pimblett, where do you go from here, right? If you're not aware of Michael Chandler's career prior to the UFC, he had a phenomenal career over at Bellator. Obviously, and ever since he came to the UFC, he's he had no easy fights. I mean, if you're to think about it, all the guys that he's actually fought, if not legends currently, were still legends, right? But like a guy like Tony Ferguson was at a certain point unmatched, and obviously perhaps that's no longer the case. But obviously Chandler went in there, he knocked him out the way that he did. I don't think it takes anything away from Chandler's win against Tony Ferguson. But really, if you think about it, Chandler's faced the who's who in that division, excluding the champion and perhaps even Arman Tsarukyan. He's talking about Gaethje, Poirier, Oliveira. He defeated, if I'm not mistaken, Dan Hooker in his UFC debut. He obviously knocked out Ferguson. And if you're to look at these names, excluding Ferguson, most of those fighters are still active fighters and are in the midst of it, so to say. So he never lost to anybody ranked lower than him. Paddy Pimblett, that's going to be the case. Obviously, he's, if I'm not mistaken, ranked number 13, 12, 13, something along those lines. And, make no mistake, this is the biggest challenge of Paddy Pimblett's career. I mean, for anybody that's going to simply count Michael Chandler out, I think UFC 314 is going to prove a lot of people wrong. For those that think that Paddy's just going to somehow walk through Michael Chandler, I believe it's going to be a highly competitive fight. I'm looking forward to this fight. This fight means a lot to both fighters for the reasons that we just explained. Obviously, Paddy living up to the expectations, his expectations for himself and expectations of fighters, the likes of Demetrious Johnson. And, for Chandler, this represents the last opportunity to get your career back on track. And, right, this fight means so much for the division, right? And perhaps this is going to be one of the most entertaining fights of this year thus far. This fight is much closer than what people anticipate. And for those that think that Paddy Pimblett is just going to somehow walk through a Michael Chandler, I beg to differ. Because the guy has all the reason in the world to give all he's got in this fight. Not that he hasn't given all he's got in previous fights, but this one means much more than any other fight in Chandler's UFC history, because obviously this represents the last opportunity for you as Chandler to get your career back on track. If you made it this far, appreciate you for sticking around. Please let me know what you think in the comments. Like, subscribe for more.